Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great week. Happy Thursday. All right, so what are we doing today? Oh, you can see the hood of my car. Should I move it? I don't know. I'm gonna move it. Hold on a second. Still see it. 1 second. How ghetto. Technical difficulties. You can still kind of see it, but it's not as much. Anyway, I wanted to talk about, or I'm going to talk about, not I wanted, I'm going to talk about, how to allow love within or love into your soul. How do you do that? How do you allow love into your soul? A few things have to take place, but you have to ask yourself, do you want it to? Do you really want it to? Do you really want love to enter your soul? Do you really want love to enter your heart? And I guess to answer that question, you have to ask yourself, do you want to be a more loving person? Or do you enjoy doing what you're doing? Like, do you enjoy hating people? Like, does it bring you comfort to condemn others? Does it bring comfort to look down upon others, look down upon yourself? Do you feel, is there any type of comfort that brings you, is there anything that brings you comfort that's unloving? You have to ask yourself these things, because if you want to allow love in your soul, then you're going to have to give up those things and the ideas and beliefs that are associated with those actions that you're taking. Because just a couple of examples. It's like let's say you're going through a divorce and you just can't stand your spouse, and it brings you comfort to hate that person. It brings you comfort to wish ill will upon that person. Like, if that brings you comfort, if you want to see that person pay, if you want to see that person suffer, if that brings you comfort, then you're not going to want to allow love in your soul. It's not going to happen. If you want something really, 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 really badly, say there's a job that you want, there's a position, there's a career, there's whatever it is that you want. It doesn't matter if it's material things or things that will bring you a certain status. If these things are extremely important to you and you are willing to do anything for it, then you are not going to want to allow love within your soul, because love will not allow any of these things to happen. So if you have love within your soul and you're operating from this place, love is not going to allow that anymore. You're not going to allow yourself to do that anymore. It won't be a thought anymore. It won't be a desire anymore. Currently, these are desires that people have. They want people to suffer. They want people to pay for what they've done. Someone who has, let's say, a couple has lost their child to a car accident. They want that person to pay. They want that person to experience pain and suffering, because they're experiencing pain and suffering. And this is the thing that you're going to have to get rid of. You're going to have to get rid of those thoughts, those desires, those feelings, the pain and suffering that you have within you that you're not willing to acknowledge. You're trying to project those things upon another. All that has to go. All of it has to go. If you are the type of guy who just, uses women for sex, that has to go. If you're a woman who uses a man for his money and sex, then that has to go. All of these things that we do, they have to go. Your beliefs in terms of, hoping other people, destroy themselves so you can be in a better place, that has to go. Everything has to go that's unloving. If you want love to enter your soul, on all of these different things that I talked about, and there are so many more, they have to go. And the reason why they have to go is because those things, first of all, those things are not loving. So in order to be loving, you have to not be those things or be that way or have those things within your soul that cause you to have those thoughts and feelings towards others. But in order to let love within your soul, you have to accept truth. And this is so difficult, because I was talking with a gentleman yesterday, and I don't know how we got on. Oh, we got on the topic. I didn't bring it up, but we got on the topic. He had asked me what I do, and I told him kind of what I do, and then he started going and giving his ideas and opinions about his view on what, he thought things were, and, I gave my, what I thought things were, and so he was like, yeah, and then he had mentioned theory, and people, I hear people do this all the time. Well, that's, a theory, theoretically, blah, 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 blah. But, that doesn't allow anyone to accept truth. And the thing is, everyone's afraid to accept anything. They're willing to accept what the world accepts, and if they don't want to accept what the world accepts, they use that theory thing. Well, yeah, it's a good theory, I understand the theory behind it, behind whatever is being said. But understand that if everything is a theory, then you believe nothing. You believe nothing. That's their truth. Their truth is to believe nothing. They believe, because the thing is, everyone who says theory, these are skeptics. And skeptics don't believe in anything, because they're afraid to. That's really what's going on. And skeptics are afraid to believe anything because they don't want to be wrong. They don't want to be misled, and so they don't believe the things that everyone else is believing. So they just stand back and they don't believe anything, and they just live their lives. But those people never understand what's actually going on, and they can't, because they won't believe something. They won't believe the truth. And if the truth is different than everyone else's, they don't want to be ridiculed, so they just stand back and they don't believe anything. But in order to have love, and the thing is, when I say truth, I mean absolute truth. Like, there's only one truth, people. There aren't many truths. Yes, you have different experiences, but a lot of those experiences are false. They're lies. For instance, if someone can say, I don't know how to love because, or people are loving, or the universe, or humanity, they're not loving because I didn't experience love, or my parents didn't love me. Those, anytime hold on a second. Anytime there isn't love present, that means that someone is operating from a falsehood. Someone's operating from an untruth. And so they have believed that experience to be true, and they'll say, this is my truth. My experience is my truth. No, your experience is your experience. It has nothing to do with truth. It's a fact. It's a fact. That's what it is. But that does not make it true. It's a fact that you have been abused. It's a fact that you have an abusive husband. It's a fact that you have been misled by religions. It's not your truth. It's a fact. A fact that you believe these things, absolutely. But is it truth? No. Not if it's not truth. And this is why it's so important to understand what truth is. And this is why it's so important to look at things and investigate and experiment with things. Don't just believe what people tell you. Don't ever believe what I just tell you. Experiment. And I know a lot of people listen to my videos and they're like, oh, this sounds good, I'm going to listen to him. I'll subscribe to the video, and because I resonate with what he's saying. But it doesn't matter what I'm saying if you're not willing to investigate it. If you're not willing to test it. And everything that I talk about, in the beginning of my videos, it says soul revivification. And soul revivification means bringing life to, like revive it, bringing a strength to it. And so this is what I'm trying to do, is give information that is going to revive your soul. Because if you look at the way our lives are, look, it's almost like our soul is hampered so much. It's like there's no energy in it. And for the most part, there isn't any life force because of all the emotional injuries that are bogging it down. Like, your soul cannot be what it was intended to be and do because you have all the emotional injuries within it. So we have to do those things that are taking away that are disallowing the energy that we were initially created with. Because when our souls are created, they have a certain amount of energy that is perfection for man. So it's like man's perfection. So the soul is full of pure love. in term, not God's love, but the soul's capacity for love. It's full. It's just filled to the top. And then when it incarnates, it starts experiencing these emotional injuries from our parents, and so, or from its parents, and so it starts accepting, or I should say, not accepting is a weird word because it makes it seem like it's aware that it's accepting these things, and it's not aware of anything. It's absorbing. So it's absorbing these emotional injuries, and as it's absorbing each emotional injury, its life force is degrading. Like the life force of the soul, the energy of the soul is degrading. The love within the soul is lessening and lessening with each emotional injury that it absorbs. And this is why some children are born sick. This is why some children are born with deformities. This is why some children are born with mental issues, because they're not developing properly. And they have so many issues, so many emotional injuries that the body cannot cope with that. It can't, it's like, you need a certain amount of energy. It's like, a little battery operated train, right? I remember having one. And, you put it on the track, and it's going great, right? You put that brand new Duracell battery in, and it's like, it's off, right? It's going. And then after a while, it starts to die down. And that's what happens to the soul. The energy leaves. But the thing is, the soul has the capacity to maintain that energy. It's not like the energy that we have here where, it has to be, always generated. Like we have to do something in order for energy to be there. No, it's not like that. It's self-generating. Like that's how intelligent the soul is. That's how intelligent God is to even create something that doesn't need something else to give it energy. Like we are our own energy creators. And so as we're, as the energy is lessening and lessening, it doesn't have the power to do what it is meant to do. So the soul is designed and capable of maintaining the body for hundreds of years. Not forever, but for hundreds of years. The reason why that is because the physical body is not designed to last thousands of years. That's not going to happen, because we're not meant to be on earth forever. We're meant to move on into the spirit world, but not as quickly as we are now. We're not supposed to leave so soon, but we do. We need time to learn these things. The thing is, it's really interesting. Anyway, I'm getting off the topic. The energy that we have within us, it's all dependent upon the love that's within us. And so anytime we have these emotional injuries, and let's say, we're already born, we already got the crap that we have, and we're all right, we can walk, we got all our hands and fingers and toes and all that stuff. Like everything's good. Like we've escaped the worst of the gestation, right? Of what could potentially be, because our parents didn't have as many emotional injuries as others have. And the emotional injuries may be different, which causes different developmental issues. So we have a lot of injuries within us, fine. We make it, we're out. But then because of the injuries that we have within us, we either accept or deny certain things based on our experience. So understand that the emotional injuries that you have within you are the same exact emotional injuries that your parents have. And since you have no control over your parents, you are subjected to their law of attraction. Up until around 7 years old or so, you are completely subjected to your parents' law of attraction. So whatever you're experiencing as a child, before you develop your awareness, before you develop your awareness of your will to do and desire what you want, you are completely subjected to your parents. So anything that has happened between the time you came in as a soul, all the way up until 7, 8 years old, and around that time, usually around 7 years old, you're not responsible for. But You are responsible for the emotional injuries within your soul. Meaning, when I say you're not responsible, I mean there is no need to blame you for your childhood, because you didn't have any control over that. You have control over removing the emotional injuries that are within you from when you were a child. That's what you're responsible for. And so fast forward to adulthood, the reason why you want love within your soul is because the emotional injuries have, I don't want to say replaced it, but it has. It has replaced the love that you came in with pain, and your pain that you don't want to experience is covered with fear, and so that's why you get angry. So, and this is why we get annoyed at little things here and there, because we have things within our soul that are painful, and we want to ignore those things. And so these experiences that we're having are to trigger those emotions. That's what's being triggered, are the emotions from your childhood. You also have new emotions, but those new emotions are generated from your childhood emotions. You understand? So as we move on and move forward as an adult, we want to allow love within our soul. And the reason why we want to allow love within our soul is because we want a different experience than the painful one that we have been experiencing. That's the only reason you want to have love in your soul, is so that you can have a better experience. There isn't anybody on this planet who says, I don't want a better experience. Everyone wants a better experience. The issue is they don't know how to achieve that. They believe that having the cars and having the money and having the girlfriend and having the boyfriend and having the children, they believe all these things are going to make them happy. They want a perfect family. You know, women want a husband to provide for them. They want a kid or 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 or however many they want. They want to be this person, this mother, you know, figure, and who cares, because there's emotional injuries behind that. It's like, well, why do you want to do all these things? Well, because it's going to make me happy. Well, if they're looking for a child to make them happy, there are some things that they're suppressing. There's some things that they're ignoring. So we have to be mindful of that. This is why, you know, if you listen to my past videos, I'm like, be mindful of what's going on within you. You know, look at your law of attraction. Ask yourself why that's happening. Why are you desiring these things? Why do you need these things to be happy? All of these things we have to ask ourselves. I have been asking myself these things lately more often than not. And so I'm getting answers. And so I'm able to progress. The thing is, progression, when I say progression, there's many ways you can progress, and depending on what the outcome is that you're looking for. So if you're the type of person who, you know, who doesn't really believe in the whole God thing, that's fine. You can progress. You can progress in your own natural love, in your own way, meaning you can not believe in the divine and just believe in yourself and believe in being moral and ethical. You can do that. But in order to do that, there are some truths that you have to accept within you so that you can operate from that place. Meaning you have to have the truth within you in order for love to enter you. Truth cannot, or love cannot enter your soul if you don't have truth. Now, you people say I'm loving, you know, and I'm a loving person, and I care for others, and I do for others, and I do this and I do that, but that doesn't mean you're loving. Because anytime someone doesn't appreciate what you're doing for them and you get pissed off, that's not loving. That means you're trying to force something, which means you don't have truth within your soul. So you have a belief that in order to receive love from someone, or receive some type of appreciation that makes you feel love, that you have to do something. Well, that's not true. You don't have to do something in order to get something in return. It's loving to do it, but if you're doing it for that reason, it ain't coming. It's just someone who is having their addiction met. So someone who needs something, you do it for them. They're like, oh, you satisfied my addiction, I'm going to satisfy yours. Thank you so much. You're such a loving person. Oh my gosh, you're a doll. You're a saint. Oh, you're just an amazing individual. And this is what people look for. And it's all an addiction. All an addiction. That's all it is. It's just addictions being met. You know, and I was listening to a couple yesterday, and they were interacting, and they, oh my God, like, I was like, I was sitting here, I'm like, you guys don't even know. Like, they were together but they were so distant. They were talking at each other, but they weren't feeling anything. I can tell by the way they were interacting. They were just throwing out sentences like, hey, what about this? How, like he asked you, like, how's your leg doing? Is it better, from your, your surgery? I'm like, what's going on here? Like, it was just weird. There was no emotion. There was no feeling. It was just information being transferred back and forth. And I was like, this is awful. Like, clearly they're needy people. They are some very codependent people. And so they don't want to be alone. A lot of people have this issue. I have a friend on Facebook that he can't do anything by himself. Like, he always needs somebody with him. Oh, there's another one. He needs people to do everything with him, whether it's grocery shopping and part of it is he's using people for because he doesn't have a car, so he's using everybody for everything. So anybody want to go grocery shopping with me? And it's like, oh, it'd be nice to have company. And it's like, oh, and a car if you have a car. And I'm like, this is so messy. Just looking at, all these people who have all these addictions, But, in order, like I said, in order to let love in, you have to allow truth in. And the thing is, in order to allow truth in, that means you have to give up the error that you hold within you. Meaning you have to give up the untruth that you hold. That is opposite of that truth. You have to get rid of that untruth. That's the only way that love or truth is going to enter you. Because if there's a particular subject and you have a certain belief about that, that means that you have an untruth. If it's not truth, then it's automatically untruth. It's not your personal truth. It is your personal belief, but it has nothing, and I do mean absolutely nothing, to do with truth. It's just your belief. And you have assigned this belief as truth because you believe that's what it is, or you want it to be if you want it to be truth, but that doesn't mean that it is true just because you believe it's true. It has to be truth, meaning you have to validate it. And this is why individuals don't like the things that I talk about, because they don't want to validate what I'm saying. They don't want to validate for themselves that what I'm saying is true, because if that's the case, that means that they automatically have to give up what they hold as truth currently. And that's something that people don't want to do. People do not want to give up their beliefs. They just don't want to do it, because their whole life is based on their beliefs. I have the family member who is a Jehovah's Witness. Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't had any coffee yet. 1 second. Hope I don't burn my lips. Because I didn't let this cool. I didn't burn my lips. I just burned my tongue. Now I need to put some cold on it. Sure did burn my tongue. That's going to be an awful feeling for a few days. So, I have this, family member and, Jehovah's Witness, and it doesn't matter what belief it is, but, their whole life is based on that foundation. Those beliefs are their foundation. And so, if they believe this is true, so that means they cannot accept anything that's going to dislodge that belief. It has to stay intact. It has to. Oh, a squirrel. Don't do it. Go back. Oh, my God. Oh, she ran over it. That's her law of attraction. She ran over the squirrel. Oh, I'm glad it wasn't mine. I'm not glad it's hers, but I'm glad it's not mine. It said clunk clunk. I just saw it. Oh my gosh. So went down the wrong pipe. Choking myself. So, they don't want to let go. And the thing is, whatever issue they're trying to figure out in life, like whatever issues they have or anybody has in their life, and they're trying to figure it out, and it requires for them to accept a certain truth about themselves. If the opposite of that is something that they don't want to face, they're not going to hold on to it. Like if a guy had a father who said, you're not worth anything, and you're a lazy bum, and you're never going to amount to anything. If this is something that a father has said to his child, then that means, is there a murder? Why are these police out here? Oh, they got something taped off over there. Oh, this might be a murder. Murder. They taping it off. Ooh, something happened. Or something's gonna happen, like an event, and nobody got murdered. I don't know, but they had an area over there with a tree all taped off. Ooh, something happening. Trying to read what this tape says, but it's backwards. It just says LAPD. It doesn't say crime scene, does it? They are really... I can't see that far. Anyway, if a father has said all those things to his son, then he has a belief that he will not amount to anything. And every time something comes up, he's going to have this thing within him that's not going to allow him to move forward. And he's always going to have this feeling like he's not enough. And he's going to have to get rid of that belief in order to believe that he is capable. But he has to accept that truth. At some point, he is somewhere within him, he has to accept the truth that he is capable and he is worthy. He has to accept that truth. But in order to accept that truth, he has to get rid of the old one. Excuse me. So he has to decide for himself what he wants to accept. Does he want to accept the truth of his father? Or does he want to accept the truth of God? Because God believes and knows that all of his children are capable of all things. But if that is not a belief that you want to hold, then you're going to hold the opposite of that. And you already hold the opposite of that. The thing is, when we're children, we don't know. We just accept. We don't know to discern. We don't know how to do that. It's not until we get older do we decide what we want and what we don't want and what we want to accept and not accept. Like consciously. As a child, we know what we want. We know if we want to play with the yellow toy over the blue toy. I mean, really, when you have a baby and you have most toys are the primary colors, so there's the yellows and the greens and the blues and the reds, and maybe there's a favorite one. The child knows what it wants. The child already knows, not intellectually, it just knows that this is what brings me joy. I want to play with this one. And so they carry that thing around with them all over the place. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a yellow ball. And so the little boy is carrying around the yellow ball everywhere because that's what brings him joy. This is what he likes. He may not know consciously like what's going on, but he knows he likes what he likes. He knows he likes that color. He knows he likes that ball. So we know what our desires are, but what happens is as we get older, our parents try to mold us and they instill their beliefs within us. But as a child, we don't know that it's their beliefs that they're trying to impose on us. We just know that we're being taught. This is, mommy likes this or daddy likes this. Daddy does this like this, and mommy does this like this, so I do it like this. Same thing with cooking. You can cook something the same way your mother cooked it because that's the way you were taught. That's the way my mom did it, and her grandmother or her mother did it like that, and her great and whatever. Go on and on and on as far back as you want to go. If that's the way they did it, that's the way you do it. Hey, that's the way you were taught. But there are other ways to do it, and there's probably better ways to do it. And whatever it is that they would be making, whatever the recipe is, there's probably a better recipe. But if you won't accept that there's a better recipe, if you believe that this is the pinnacle of whatever you're making, you'll only accept that as being truth. But it's not the best. There could be something. I mean, you can go to a restaurant like, oh my gosh, this cornbread is so good. It's better than my mom's. It's better than my grandmother's. But you'll continue making it the way that you have been taught, because that is how you've been taught. So we have all these different things. Like, that's just a recipe. We're not even talking about how we live life. How we live life is something completely different. We have beliefs that decide how we react to things, you know. Some parents teach their daughters to never date a man who doesn't make a certain amount of money or doesn't have a house or whatever it is. So therefore they have that belief. This is a belief they have. I cannot date any man who is making less than this. If they don't have a car, if they don't have a house, I can't even talk to them. If that's a belief that they have, then they're not going to allow anyone else who could possibly be the best person for them. The person who's going to treat them like an amazing individual that they are. In fact, you know, and so, you know, all these different beliefs. And sometimes someone can grow up poor and not want to experience poverty anymore. So they develop their own belief. Like, I cannot have a happy, joyful life if I don't have a man who has money. And so therefore a belief is decided and created all on their own, based on their experience. So we just have to be mindful of what we believe is going to make us happy, what's going to bring us joy. And the thing is, the most important thing is to have love within us. I cannot accept someone that is going to be good for me if I'm always putting up these rules and boundaries. Now, there's certain things like, it's funny because I was listening to a video and they were talking about soulmates, and it was AJ, and he was like, okay, so, you know, would you date a murderer? You know, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't date a murderer. Of course not. He goes, but what if it's your soulmate? They're like, my soulmate isn't a murderer. And he was like, well, it's somebody's soulmate. That has to be somebody's soulmate, because each, you know, when we incarnate, we split off, our soul splits off into two different separate halves of souls, I should say. And so each soul, each half of the soul incarnates and creates a body for itself. So somebody has to have the murderer, somebody has to have the rapist, somebody has to have the child molester, someone has to have the embezzler, someone has to have the pathological liar. Like, somebody has to have that person as a soulmate. And at some point, they're going to meet up with them, whether it's here on Earth or in the spirit world. But someone has to have it. And so if you have all these barriers or these beliefs that you can't, and you know you're condemning, if that's a belief that you have to condemn anyone who steals, then you could be blocking yourself out from your soulmate and potentially changing that person's life. You don't know. And that person could meet you and change their own life. They decide, hey, you know, I'm going to change. You know, this person is amazing. I met someone who's great. This is my other half. You know, so all these different beliefs, they're all in there. We just have to know which ones are true. Because once we allow the truth to come in, then the love can come in. And that's what transforms us. Love is what transforms the soul. But you have to accept the truth in order for that to come in. And I've been noticing this, like, there's so many different truths I have accepted. And one of the one was, a huge one was that God loves me. Like, I never thought about it. And the reason why I didn't think about it is because I already had believed, somewhere along the line in my childhood, I had heard something and I formed a belief, or that belief was given to me. So in the Jehovah's Witness religion, it said that, you know, God will not love anyone who's homosexual. Well, I'm homosexual. So obviously I have a belief based on the information that they gave me that I can't be loved by God. And so this is why, I don't know if this is why, I haven't figured that out yet, but I believe this is why I never desired a connection, because I already believed that a connection could not be had. So when I actually accepted, like, I was driving one day, and I was just thinking, like, I was learning more about God. And this is the thing, like, I didn't know anything about God. Anything other than what has been told to me. And God wasn't someone I wanted to know, Because the way people painted God was not this person I wanted to know. I just did not want to know that person. I didn't want to know this demanding, angry, vengeful God. I did not want to know this entity at all. But it wasn't until I started learning the truth about God, about how God is loving and always is loving and will never be anything but that, and how God is accepting and how God is not condemning and how God does not, if you do something wrong, you're not forever condemned, and that you do have the ability to improve yourself, and God wants you to improve yourself. Like, all of these things I did not know. But as I was learning these truths, I was able to accept that God does love me. Now, there's certain aspects of God that I'm not completely aware of, so therefore those truths have not entered me yet. But there's some truths that I'm starting to understand that allow me to view God differently. But one of the things was that God was, that I could have a connection with God, which is something I didn't believe I could have, because the thing is, if someone hates you, it's foggy out here. If someone hates you, do you believe that they're going to accept you? No, you don't. If there's someone at work and they just hate your guts, do you believe that they could ever accept you or love you? No. And so these are the beliefs that we have, and we can tell ourselves that, oh God, God is good and God is this. You're just rehashing things that people are telling you. Ooh, this thing got close. Or am I close? Somebody's close. This truck on the side of me. Can I bring my wallet? Yeah. So, in order for, before I get to work, in order to have the truth enter you, so that love can enter you, you have to be humble. There has to be humility present. And it doesn't have to be on all things right away, but at some point it does have to be about all things. What the fuck, these people? They be turning wide, these trucks, and I understand they have to, but damn, you have to do it so early. So, like, for instance, like, what is humility? It's this, I heard AJ say, if you're not humbled, you will be humiliated. Meaning, if you're not humble to accept you as you are, or a belief or a truth, then you'll be humiliated if you don't accept it. That's the truth. So humility, what is humility? It's having like a passionate longing and desire to feel all of your beliefs and emotions, whether they're painful or pleasurable, no matter what anyone thinks or feels about it. That's what humility is. So you have to be able to accept it. You have to be okay with it. You can't have any resistance, because any resistance is not being humble. Any resistance on any topic is not being humble. So as you accept it and you're okay with it, and you know that, because the thing is, like, if you cheated on your spouse and and someone and this happened a long time ago, and someone says, hey, I see you with so-and-so. Does she know about your past? Does she know about your history? Does she know that you used to be, maybe you were a prostitute. Maybe that's what you were. And someone says, does she know about all those years you were out sleeping around with other people? And so if you're humble enough to accept that truth, then nothing can harm you. And you would say, yeah, he knows about it. I told him about it. He's okay with it. He knows my past. If you're humble enough to accept it, then nothing can hurt you. But if you're not willing to accept the truth, your truth, meaning the things that have happened to you, whether you were molested or raped or whatever, if you're not willing to accept that truth, if you're not willing to accept that, if you're black and you feel pain whenever someone white does not accept you, if you're not humble enough to accept that, then you're going to be humiliated. You're going to feel humiliated. But if you don't want to ever feel that, you have to accept the truth. Because once you accept it, nothing can harm you. So if someone says, oh, for instance, like my sexuality, if someone says, if I have not accepted my sexuality, and someone says, well, I'm going to tell, everyone that you're gay, I would be humiliated if someone told other people that I was gay. But if I accept it, if I accept who I am, what I am, how I am, then anybody can go tell anybody anything, and I will never be humiliated, because I was humble enough to accept the truth of who I am. And this is why it's so important. So, anytime anyone has a belief, religious or not, and it's not a truth, they will feel humiliated when someone proves their belief to be false. They'll be like, well, and then they'll get all bent out of shape and, acting all kinds of crazy because they don't hold truth. They do not hold the truth. And so people who are religious, or they have whatever beliefs, whether it's New Age, like, if you go to my, the event video and you look at the comments, some of them are angry at what I say. But the reason why they're angry is, no, they didn't try to pull into that parking space. So obviously a cop saw them driving down the street, and they're going to just pull in, not on the side somewhere, but into a parking space. I wonder what they were thinking. If I pull in here, nothing's going to happen. Whatever. So, if you don't accept the humility, if you don't accept the truth, is what I was saying. If you don't accept it, like the religion point that I was giving out, if you hold a false belief, obviously a false belief is not true. So when you have these religious people who are angry, when you present something that's contrary to what their belief is, they'll get bent out of shape. So if you go to my comments, like with the New Age thing, the event is about this New Age belief. And so I was making statements and presenting contrasting information, presenting data, information to prove that the event is not this thing that they think that it is. It's just it's a rehashed idea that Christians have used before. And before that, other religions and belief systems have used it. So, and so this person, or these different people, they come out and they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. They just get so angry. And the reason why they get angry is because they don't have truth. Truth can withstand anything. And you don't have to keep bringing up different things to support it. Truth is truth, no matter what. And it will be able to stand up against anything that is false. Now, that doesn't mean that someone has to believe it, because if someone's in denial, of course they're not going to believe it. But that's the whole point. People who are in denial of the truth will cling to their untruths. It's just going to happen. Hold on a second. All right. What I didn't finish saying is, that belief that I had with, in terms of God, any belief that you hold that causes, emotional pain, when you release that belief, as you accept the truth, is what I'm saying. As you accept that truth, the belief that caused emotional pain, as that leaves, you will be emotional. Because the idea that I had growing up that God didn't care or love me or whatever, I can't remember what the actual, I just knew that there was pain from that belief. So there wasn't a lot of reasoning that I came up with as a child. All I knew was that this is what they said. So, but there was pain. And I didn't recognize that pain back then because, well, obviously I was taught to suppress my emotions, so I didn't realize that it was there. But as I accepted the truth, releasing the belief that I had caused me to cry. That's what it caused me to do. It caused me to be emotional. And this is, all emotions are going to have to be released in that manner. All of them. So if you're a guy and you have issues with, crying, That's going to be that's probably should be the first thing you try to work on, is where did that come from? Where did that belief come from? Why do I believe that I can't express my emotions? Why can't I believe that I can't express myself? Why can't I, or why do I believe all these different things that prevent me from progressing? You have to ask yourself that, because this came from your parents, this came from your friends, a lot came from your friends, So, and even women frown upon men being emotional. Well, you need to say, screw them, do your own thing. Don't allow anyone to prevent you. You've already done that. You've already allowed someone to prevent you from expressing yourself. Don't get with some other woman, some girlfriend, or even if it's your wife. You need to tell her, you need to step back, because this is what I need to do for myself. And if she can't accept that, then you need to, kick her to the curb. That's what you need to do. And the same thing for women. If men don't want to see you cry and be emotional, why you always got to be emotional? Why you always crying? Same thing. Kick him to the curb if he's not going to allow you to improve yourself by releasing these emotions that are preventing you from. Listen, if a man or a woman is preventing you from being emotional, like if they're frowning upon that, you need to let them go, because it's the very emotions that you have within your soul that has you with this joker or with this crazy woman. You understand? So this is why it's so important to deal with the things that are within you, so that you can get a better partner. Someone who is understanding, and someone who is willing to accept you, go through your transformation. As long as you hold on, listen, as long as you hold on to these individuals who are preventing you from progressing, you're not going to be able to improve. It can't happen, because you're holding on to the belief that you need this person when you do not need that person. And so as soon as you accept the truth of not needing this person, and you're willing to let them go, you'll feel something emotional. You'll feel the error of having to hold on to this person, or having this idea that you need this person in order to be happy. As soon as you let that go and you accept that you do not need that person or anyone else to progress, you will feel emotional, because now you're accepting a truth. So many truths are associated with that. One, you're experiencing your freedom. You're experiencing your own strength that you have within you to carry out your progression and to make decisions on your own, to take care of yourself on your own. You don't feel dependent upon this person anymore. There's just all kinds of things that happen when you accept truth. The truth is, do you need anyone? Do you need someone to take care of you? No. Do you have a fear that, there's nobody around to take care of you? Maybe. If that's something that you believe, then you're going to have to let that go. So anyway, if you're going to be a more loving person, you're going to have to accept these truths. You're going to have to accept these truths. All right, everyone. Have a great Thursday, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye now.